Hi, I'm Carlotta, and I'm your media maven for this month's episode, Conversations in Color.
In film history dating from the silent era, there has been a great deal of experimentation in producing color films. There was the stencil process in 1905, where a copy of the original film was made, sections cut out, and placed under a machine to stencil in the appropriate colors. Fun fact, by 1910, they had over 400 women working in sweatshops to carry this out. Film tinting in 1910 during the silent era, where a film was given a monochromatic color, and various other dyes and chemicals were often experimented with to produce certain colors.
Out of all the techniques that have come and gone, Technicolor has always had a profound effect on me.
Implemented in 1922 to 1952, it is most recognized in films such as The Wizard of Oz, Gone with the Wind, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Ben-Hur, and even a film noir or two, such as Leave Her to Heaven.
But the film that has always stood out to me is Alfred Hitchcock's Vertigo.
In the film, a former police detective wrestles with his personal demons and becomes obsessed with a hauntingly beautiful woman. At the risk of sounding ironic, I'm obsessed with this film, but for different reasons. It is one of the few films where its imperfections, whatever they may be, actually add to its evocative, unsettling nature. What really stands out to me is the coloring. Hitchcock had a preoccupation with a red, gold, and green color palette and was insistent on using this in Vertigo.
I remember the famous revelation of Kim Novak's character Judy after her final transformation.
Like some sort of phantasmagoria surrounded by a green light as if she were an alien being exiting a spacecraft, or a butterfly emerging from its chrysalis, where the imperfect Judy, bathed in green light, transforms into the fantasy of Madeline.
Interestingly enough, this scene wasn't originally written this way.
According to Vertigo, the making of a Hitchcock classic, the screenplay at first read, Scotty watches as she picks up a couple of pens from a glass tray and scoops a handful of hair. Judy slowly turns from the mirror to face him. She looks exactly like Madeline. The scene was then changed to give the director the opportunity to realize Madeline's reemergence in a single breathtaking shot. Despite the negative connotations this transformation would have today, a woman changing herself in order to gain the love of a man, this is exactly what makes the piece as vital to our culture as it is right now. There are lessons that are presented by the creator.
And the green color that is associated with Madeline throughout suggests an almost abnormal obsession any normal human could potentially have with the idea of their ideal partner.
This is what happens to Scotty as he pursues the eternal feminine fantasy.
Madeline's primary color green is often in contrast with its complementary color, red.
Historically, green is often associated with Mother Nature, youth, vigor, and safety, while red's emotionally intense visuals signify passion, danger, desire, blood, heat, or allure. The reds can be seen as the virility Scotty longs to have, and Madeline as the eternal woman who brings it out. Midge, his former on-again, off-again
friend,
is often adorned in and surrounded by dull pastels signifying a worn-out libido. It is only when she tries to bring out more of this passion by literally inserting herself into the picture that she is adorned with a bright red, and the rejection of her in this color allows us to conclude that Scotty is uninterested. But the color itself is also alarming, signifying danger as Scotty walks across the red floors in the scene with Galvin Elster, the man who hires Scotty to look after his wife initially, giving a sense of foreshadowing danger. Like lava, where Scotty can't help but tread on the heels of trouble. The infamous gray suit, which Kim Novak, the actress playing Madeline and Judy, detested when first being brought onto the project, grew on her. And by grew on her, I mean she was eventually charmed by costume designer Edith Head when she suggested the color of the suit was specifically chosen because of its simplicity, and according to Hitch, represented the character's view of herself in the first half of the film. The character would then go through a more psychological change in the second half of the film and would wear more colorful clothes to reflect the change. Novak acquiesced, and we can see that awkwardness played out on the screen as if the character herself sensed she was an imposter, imitating a dream.
The The white Madeline wears as she walks through the forest, tormented by the images of the past, can be related to Scotty's own inner struggle with finding himself.
Tanya Modleski, author of The Women Who Knew Too Much, Hitchcock and Feminist Perspective Theory, states, "It is as if Scotty were continually confronted with the fact that women's uncanny otherness has some relation to himself, that he resembles her in ways intolerable to contemplate. Intolerable because this resemblance throws into question his own fullness of being."
The color helps support this theory, as Scotty seems ever drawn to her ghost-like figure as it wisps through the forest.
White in many Eastern cultures is also the symbol of death, which could be directly foreshadowing what is to come. It also gives credit to the idea that Scotty is obsessed with his own annihilation as we look at the infamous dream sequence, where a replica of his tiny dead body is shown wreathing like a cockroach under a microscope, absconded by a white light, white being the color of death, and him being swallowed into the darkness. Notice as well how Madeline's coat covers a black chiffon dress signifying a foreboding darkness underneath a pristine, innocent exterior. Ah, Edith Head, this is also replicated by the lavender gloves Judy wears as she jumps into the San Francisco Bay, in contrast with the lavender dress she wears at dinner as Judy.
Look, there are a lot of clothing references all symbolizing little pieces of her illusion which are hidden in plain sight and eventually come into being, but that's for another video. Even the mood of Vertigo is heightened by the absence of color, with the interplay of darkness and light.
And in the darker moments, such as in the forest, how light tries to break through the darkness but can barely come through. Or the very end where color seems to be completely absent as Scotty delves deeper into darkness. Juxtaposing with the film's richer colors, such a stark contrast at the end lets the audience melt into a darker, more regressive reality.
Madeline isn't a real person, guys. She doesn't exist. Listen, I could go on and on about how Hitchcock uses color to symbolize the parts of ourselves that we imprint on others by showcasing colors associated with certain characters on one another, or how he manages to make even the lightest tones, such as his meeting with Elster, suspenseful, or how he influences our very mood with the blues surrounding Scotty as he's facing his inquest, signifying his transition into depression, but we've run out of time. Ultimately for me, Hitchcock's Vertigo is about death.
It's about the psychological toll the idea of death can take, as experienced in the loss of a loved one, or even in the demise of your own self-conception. Such thoughts can transform you, and all this can be seen, no felt, through the use of color.
Friend. Friend? Friend. 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 Buddy? Friend with benefits. I said a friend, 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 friend. I said a friend, 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 friend. It's just a friend. I said a friend, 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 a friend, 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 friend. They're just friends, guys. It's okay, they're just friends.